afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Willow Springs International Raceway. We're here for hot seat qualifying for race number 4 of season number 3 of the NOFSRL Cabela's Cup Series here in Rosamond, California. The first trip out to this 2.5-mile road course. First driver on the track, Vic Merlin, the 31. Dale Lightning in the 09. The 54 of Alex Watts made the hot seat field for this race after a good performance at Auto Club. Nick Martin's back in the 7. Landon Smith Jr. once again in the 41. The 91 going out onto the track. The reigning Scots National Series winner Quentin Moore. The 26 has Riley Snare in it. The 50 of Jackson Harrison. The Keith Kent in the 80. Zachary Fitzwater in the 57. And Caleb Rose back in the 99 for the second straight week. Out onto the track goes the 31 of Vic Merlin. He's going to run the first timed lap here around the Willow Springs International Raceway. He's just warming up now. He'll come to get the green this time for his first timed lap. Looking down this straightaway here, just tracking along with Dale Lightning in the 09. They're averaging about 160-70 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway into the wide sweeping hairpin turn. Typically, we're used to seeing sports cars run around this 2.5-mile road course. That's what's typically raced out here in Rosamond, California. But this is the first time we're bringing the Cabela's Cup Series to the track for a race. And what a race it is going to be on Saturday. Just under 8 minutes to go. Nobody has run the first timed lap of the session yet. Looking like it's going to be the 31 of Vic Merlin. We'll see if we can find him. There he is. Fitzwater coming around, I assume, to start his first timed lap, as is the 26. They may have already come around, though, so we'll just see what happens. But Vic Merlin, the first one out on the track to do his first true timed lap. He started in front. This pit is in front of the start-finish line, so sometimes they're going to show up. There'll be like a minute 24. And those will be the ones that started in behind the start-finish line. So we'll see what Merlin runs here. He's just behind Keith Kent in the 80. And the first time lap for Vic Merlin, a 77.968. Very solid time, about what we expected. The quicker laps are usually about 4 100ths faster, so we'll see if anybody can catch him. Caleb Rose started in behind the start-finish line, so that's a solid time, even with starting behind the start-finish line. So we'll see if anybody can catch that 77.968 that Vic Merlin laid down. Dale Lightning with an 78.486. And now the 91 Quentin Moore with a 78.101. And to the top of the chart, Landon Smith Jr., hello, 77.948. Number 1 on the board. RB Chevrolet. He's brought the meats under that Chevrolet's hood today. Very fast lap there. With 6 minutes to go here in hot seat qualifying. Around will come the 26 of Riley Snare. And his first timed lap, a 78.014. And it's not going to be an improved lap for Vic Merlin, but the first lap for Keith Kent, 78.116. And now only 2 drivers we're still waiting for to lay their lap down, and they just did. And hello to the top of the board, Alex Watts in the 54 with a 77.854 ahead of Caleb Rose's 77.884. They take the 1 and 2 spot away from Landon Smith Jr. and Vic Merlin. Going around the slower traffic there of Jackson Harrison. who is 10th on the board right now. Remember, the top 2 from this hot seat qualifying session advancing to the main qualifying with the rest of the field. We'll see if Vic Merlin can change his fortune here. Currently sitting in 4th, trying to get his way back into the top 2. Keith Kent slides wide there into the dirt. That could very well have held up Vic Merlin being side by side with that 80. And it's not going to be an improved lap. Hello, actually it is. A 77.362. Back to the top of the chart, Vic Merlin. Nick Martins falls into 2nd with a 77.503. Caleb Rose is 77.528. He improves. And that will knock Alex Watts back to the 4th position. Still with a 77.746. Not a terrible lap. But he needs to pick it up if he wants to make the field. It's going to be hard to beat a 77.362. But at least he needs to beat a 77.503 that Nick Martins in the 7 laid down. He's got some work to do. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining here in this session at Willow Springs International Raceway. Down the long straightaway will come Vic Merlin, who is on the top of the charts right now in that Yoo-Hoo Toyota. Through the wide sweeping corner and into the final. Down the straightaway he'll come once again. And someone smoking on the front straightaway. Coming down onto the pit road, that's Riley Snare in the 26. So something has happened to that number 26 Ace Motorsports hot seat car. He's going to come onto the pit road and need a replacement engine, and that could hurt him here. He may not be making the field. He wasn't exactly having a great qualifying session or hot seat qualifying session overall, sitting 8th overall right now with a 78.014. Not a terrible lap, but back in the 8th position. He had his work cut out for him anyway, and it just got worse for him. Now with these final just over 2 minutes left in this session, no one seems to be even close to matching Vic Merlin in the 31, who still is on top of the chart with a beautiful 77.362 ahead of Nick Martins, Caleb Rose, Zachary Fitzwater, Alex Watts, Keith Kent, Landon Smith Jr., Riley Snare, Quentin Moore, and Jackson Harrison, the top 10, with Dale Lightning rounding it out in last. Across the line once again. He's not going to better his lap. We'll see if anyone does. Nobody yet. Nobody has gotten the best of Nick Martins yet. And I don't think anyone's going to here in this final minute and a half. Up the hill again towards the Budweiser balcony in turn 4. Down the hill again into turn 5 comes Merlin. Now back into the gas, he'll go into turn number 6 down the straightaway. Go through the kink of 7. And then the wide sweeping corner, turn 8, and then slow it down a bit through turn 9. 30 seconds remaining. We might have a minute added on. We'll see what happens. Keith Kent's going to come onto the pit road. Nick Martins will come onto the pit road. And Vic Merlin, for the time being, stays out. Rose will not come down on the pit road, neither will the 54 of Alex Watts. 50, Jackson Harrison getting way wide out of turn 9 there. Off into the dirt, and we will get a reset. A minute 16. Will we get another one, though? That is a question. Caleb Rose just outside the top two. Nick Martin still sitting on the second on the chart with a 77.503. But Caleb Rose is 77.528. He just needs 15 thousandths of a second better to make the show. And down the long high-speed straightaway into turn 8. '54 of Alex Watts also trying to get back into the show there. Sitting in the 5th position, was on top of the board for a while there. Fallen back to the 5th position with a 77.746. Will Rose beat Martin's time this time, or anyone? No, he hasn't done it. Another 30 seconds is all that remains now. And hardly anyone is going to make it back to the line, so I don't think anything's going to change. Except for the 91, the 57, the 41. They're the last opportunities. And it's not going to happen for anyone else. Vic Merlin and Nick Martins will advance to the main qualifying and the main event, the Fry's Electronics 500K here at the Willow Springs International Raceway. Take a look at your hot seat results here before we move on to the full field session. Vic Merlin with a 77.362, an impressive lap there out of that 31. And Nick Martins just barely holding off Caleb Rose there by 15 1,000ths of a second. He moves on with a 77.503 with that 7 car. That'll wrap us up here with hot seat qualifying. Let's move on to the main event. And here we are for full field qualifying. The two hot seat drivers advancing to the main show, Vic Merlin and Nick Martins, here with the other 40 full-time chartered drivers to go qualifying for the main event Saturday here at the Willow Springs International Raceway. First, going to be off the pit road, Nick Martins coming out onto the track. In that 7, he'll be followed by Eric Monaco in the 55. And they'll be the first ones to run laps here around Willow Springs International Raceway here for full field qualifying. 15-minute session here for qualifying for the Fry's Electronics 500K. Benny Watson out onto the track there in the 53, Daytona 500 winner. Samad Osgin, Homestead winner, not quite coming off of the pit road yet. He'll be out momentarily. And Auto Club winner, how about Andrew Williams? He's coming in looking to go back-to-back. He's on track to sweep the West Coast swing with a good showing here at Willow Springs. We'll see if that 27 can get it done. Andrew Williams had a strong showing at Auto Club, dominated the race, led 29 of the 40 laps. And he is looking to have another good showing here at Willow Springs. First around to start his timed lap, Nick Martins in the 7. And if it's timed here on the first lap, he started behind the start-finish line, so he'll lay down a 81.472, and obviously most of these starting behind the start-finish line, so these will be the first true timed laps to see who is going to be the fastest here in qualifying at Willow Springs. Up the hill through turn 3, riding the rumble strips there. Up through 4 by Budweiser Balcony. Now back down the hill into turn 5. Gotta believe Martins is going to be the first one around to do his first true timed lap here for qualifying at Willow Springs in the Fry's Electronic 500K, being followed closely by Jacob Thibodeau in the 33. And Eric Monaco in the 55. tagging along, not very far behind either. First time around, first true lap for Nick Martins in the 7 off the final corner, turn 9, and Monaco goes wide behind. But for Martins, it will be a 76.383. A blistering fast lap, and even with Monaco going off into the dirt, he still held on for a 76.941. Very impressive. And hello, Joey Hightower to the top of the board, a 75.876. That is a blistering lap. Followed in second by Chase Buck in the 4 with a 76.294. Nick Martins falls to third with that 76.383. Ethan Lewis, a surprising fourth place there with a 76.495. RJ Rosero in the 13. And hello to Joey Hightower's teammate, Sophia Fragniti in the 38. 76.070, and we'll put Ryan Durrani up there in second as well. A 76.001 for that driver in the 34 Ace Motorsports Dodge Charger. But nobody touching that 75.876 just yet here, with just over 10.5 minutes left here in qualifying. Hightower stands alone on the top, the only one in the 75 range. Everyone is 76 or slower. And some still have not run past their outlaps yet. Starting to see the 17s and the 18s fill in. And hello to the top of the board, your defending champ, Kanan Biller, the 95, a 75.612. Followed by Alexander Rowe, who also knocks Hightower back with a 75.816. And Biller knocks off Hightower by 2.5 tenths. Boy, what engine did they bring for that 95 this week? His luck this season has not been very good. Very unaccustomed to a defending champion, but looks like he's got a very good shot here with this car if it has the same strength on Saturday as it does right now. He's looking very, very strong right now. Stover going a little wide into the dirt off of turn number 9. He gathers it back up. Meantime, checking into the lead time, and hello, Darian Arsdorf in the 14, a 75.268 or 628. Not quite knocking Biller off the chart. He was 16 1/1000ths from doing that. But now just 4 drivers inside the 75-second mark. Rest 76 or slower. On the road course last season at Watkins Glen, it was Mark Sy in the 14 getting it done. Sy not returning to the Cabela's Cup Series competition, but will be part of Mac Tool's IROC this fall for having won the crown jewel event of last season, the Turkey Hill Southern 500 down in Darlington, South Carolina. He will be back in that 14 for those 4 races leading into the 2021 Mellow Yellow Speed Weeks. Under 8 minutes to go in this session, and nothing much has changed up front since we last looked. Kanan Biller still on top with a 75.612, and we expect that at this stage. This is the stage of the qualifying session where guys would come down onto the pit road and likely get newer tires, fill up with gas, and just go gangsta the rest of the way. So we'll see what happens here the rest of the session. If we see anybody come down on the pit road, we gotta believe they're gonna be flying around here Willow Springs. Biller got a little loose there going through turn 4 up around Budweiser balcony. That's something you got to watch out for on race day. Even the slightest mistake of messing up a turn and you're going to have someone next to you coming out of it. That is if they don't also mess it up too. Through the wide, sweeping turn 8. Onto the brakes slightly through turn number 9. 6.5 minutes remaining here at Willow Springs International Raceway for qualifying. Stephen Colon coming down on the pit road. Kip Silverpoint on the pit road as well in that 68. Defending Scott's national champion on the pit road. Still just the 4 inside the 75-second mark. Let's take a look at Keegan Thompson real quick. Keegan Thompson, again, almost swept Speed Weeks. First at New Smyrna, first in the duel, 5th in the 500. He sits 37th here in qualifying with not a terrible lap, a 76.666 in the 37th position. Only one driver still outside the 76-second mark, and it is Daisy Johnson in the 15 with a 77.424. And the other Velocity cars well inside the 76 range. Keegan Thompson not having a very good qualifying session right now, but still a very, very quick lap. And who knows, if something crazy happens on Saturday, he could be one to work his way up to the front and pounce on a huge opportunity. But it is extremely hard to do on a road course, and even one like this where there's wide sweeping turns and lots of elevation changes. He'll have a very hard time getting up to the front with this one. We could be looking at a bad points day for Keegan Thompson if he doesn't pick it up. Right now, the top 10 is Kanan Biller, Darren Arnsdorf, Alexander Rowe, Joey Hightower, the 34 of Ryan Durrani, Sophia Fregnini, RJ Rosero, Will Parrish, Ben Grorich, and Trey Wright. Round out the top 10 in qualifying right now and scrolling through the rest of it. And finally, Johnson gets inside the 76 with a 76.949, and obviously having a really hard time wheeling that car around. Whatever's going on, you gotta hope the problems are fixed before race day, because starting 42nd on a road course, to put it nicely, she's gonna have her work cut out for her. I'm just gonna say that. But up the top of the chart, it is still the 95 of Kanan Biller with that 75.612. There he is. Alexander Rowe and Darren Arnsdorf in behind, the second and third place cars on the board right now. Those three plus Joey Hightower still the only ones within the 75-second mark. With now less than 3.5 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session. Up the hill through 4 by Budweiser balcony, now down the hill again. Into turn 5. Slowest part of the track right there. Now out of turn number 6, onto the fastest part of the racetrack right here through the kink of 7. And into the wide hairpin turn of 8 at 165 miles per hour. And slowing up and skating around turn number 9. Gotta be careful to not go off into the dirt. And are the laps going to change? No. To be honest with you, I don't think this late in the session, I don't think they're going to change. I think what we see right here, right now, is going to be the qualifying order here at Willow Springs. And to the bottom of the chart, Trey Smith. Where in the world did Daisy Johnson end up? 19th. With a 76.335, so I guess Daisy Johnson's going to be better off on race day than we thought she was going to. Was in 42nd there for a really long time, but now up to 19th. Going to make things a little bit easier for that 15 on race day. Closing in on the 90 of Trey Wright. Wright currently sits on the board 11th with a 76.096. Just 2 1,000ths better than Vic Merlin in 31. One of the hot seat cars coming in. Vic Merlin and Nick Martin's the other one. Martin in 22nd with a 76.383. If I'm not mistaken, that is the same lap that Martin's has had since his first official timed lap. So this session is not exactly going very well for him. Meantime, here's the two NS Racing cars going at it there. Stephen Colon and Nathan Stapleton right there in front of it in the 97. Stapleton get a little wide there through turn 6 and now into turn 9. Oh, Stephen Colon giving him the boot there. That could be a little practice for a winning move right there here at Willow Springs. Coming out of turn number 9. Just bumped his boss right out of the way. But now less than 30 seconds remaining here. We may or may not get a reset here. We'll see how much it is. If it's like last session, we'll have another 2 minutes added on in total between the first and the second. But still nothing changing on the board just yet. And it is going to be a minute 15 added on for the first cycle. Biller in the 95, still on top with a 75.612. Followed by Arnsdorf with a 75.628. And Owen Miles, I didn't even realize he worked his way up there into the top 5. Third overall for that 25, a blistering 75.770. He knocks Rowe down to 4th. He knocks Hightower down to 5th. And is the 5th driver of the session and likely the last one that will get into the 75s. What a surprise that is. Oh, jeez. Smith was loose. Coming out down the hill towards turn number 5. Has the 38 all over his backside going down the long straightaway into turn number 8. Bragniti could be practicing a little winning move here. Currently on the board in 7th, so it wouldn't be a bad time to try it, and looks like it's going to have the same effect as Cologne's earlier to Stapleton. So, giving you a little something to look out for on Saturday, on race day. But in the final cycle now is going to wrap up after these final few seconds. And the clock ticking down. It's going to be Biller on the pole with a 75.612 as the clock ticks to 0. And that will do it here at Willow Springs. That's qualifying for you. Biller on top of the charts with a 75.612. Followed by Arnsdorf, Miles, Rowe, Hightower, Durrani, Fragniti, Colon, Racero, and Parrish. That's your top 10 in qualifying, and we'll scroll through the rest here. Nobody falling outside of a minute 16.935. That's Trey Smith rounding up the field there. But Daisy Johnson avoiding falling into the only one being in the 77. In fact, worked her way all the way up to 19th for a bit, but got shuffled back down to the 22nd position by Kukulon, Buck, Reynolds. So these guys are going to have their work cut out for them. I want to say 7th on back. definitely going to have their work cut out for them on race day, but we'll just have to see what happens. That's going to wrap us up here at Willow Springs International Raceway. Kanan Biller is your pole sitter for the Fry's Electronics 500K. We'll see you tomorrow for the race. And until then, y'all have a good one.